Hello, howdy, hola, welcome everybody back to another edition of Love and Action, Deconstruction Junction podcast.
Bienvenuto.
Bienvenue. Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life. And every week we stop by to share our ideas and our worldview from the perspective of ourselves and what we're trying to build within the network. If you're out there and you have a dream that you would like encouragement, equipment, and empowerment with, let us know over at lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. We would love to connect with all of you. And every week I'm joined by our fabulous co-host, Tara Priolo, who's over in Minnesota making lunch. And she can introduce herself to you whenever she's ready.
Hello, folks. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Lord of the Rings clips, and I don't know why it made me think about the great and terrible, the Galadriel scene when she gets overtaken briefly by the water, whatever that's called. Anyway, I am Tara Priolo. I am your resident Black, biracial, multi-passionate musician. I'm also a mom. So you see me looking over there at my toddler to make sure we're not jumping off of things and or being crazy. Also, like, this is a really well packaged pizza, but I got it out. What else do you need to know about me? I make the intangible tangible by helping you remove the entanglements. I'm here on a Friday, more well rested than I have been in 6 weeks. And yeah, we're gonna boogie down today and talk about things. If you are a person that wants to come talk about things with us, you are more than welcome to. You just let us know at lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. You can let us know what you want to talk about and where and why and how, and we will be responsive, and you can have your own little bitmoji down there. I just saw one of our Black artists Snapchat told me they posted a bunch of stories. So if you are on Snapchat and you have a bitmoji and you want to come in for Adopt a Black Artist, feel free to, and there is a meeting very soon. So we're gonna move. So Dr. Flo already kind of showed y'all what the slide is. So Operation Metro Surge is I know that they were calling the surge in Minnesota, the 3,000 ICE agents that were here, Operation Metro Surge. Yesterday, Tom Homan had a presser. He said in the presser essentially that there was going to be a drawback of forces, but they were in fact going to still leave special teams to ensure that immigration enforcement continued in Minnesota and across the country. The next slide, I believe, is a slide from me. It might be Threads. Yeah, it's a slide for me. If you wouldn't mind making it big. I could probably look it up. Okay. So essentially he said that there was thank you for putting that in the sink, babe. He said that there was unprecedented cooperation between the state and the federal authorities. Tim Wall said this the other day, and I think essentially what got capitulated was that every county jail agreed to hand over people once they were done serving their sentence if they had something come up in ICE. He did carefully, like I said, he carefully evaded what a full drawdown would be. We don't know if this means like all of them except for the ones that were here are leaving, or if this is just a significant drawdown. He also said that this is dependent on quote unquote agitators behaving. And he also said that there have been no wrongdoings by ICE But as we know, they have literally murdered 2 people and more than 2 people over the last year. Shot multiple others, which the Venezuelan man that they shot, the federal government dropped the case against them for disrupting ICE because there was no standing. Imagine that. And there was also a constitutional a judge ruled the treatment in the Whipple Center as inhumane just yesterday. I don't think the administration really cares about that. I would guess that they would, go in the opposite direction of that order, but that's that. And then I have a couple threads, I think. Okay, ICE is going to leave Minnesota the same way Israel agreed to a ceasefire. And that's pretty much our energy here in Minnesota. Like, we will believe it when we see it. And then another person says, ICE is leaving? Awesome. Some thoughts. When do we get our neighbors back? What is the plan to repair the psychological, economic, and physical damage done? Where are they going next, and how will it be different? And I'll believe it when I see it. Literally during the press conference yesterday, there were unidentified helicopters that were not showing up on radars flying over my area. So we'll believe it when we see it, girl. Okay, that's my update on ICE. Thoughts, questions? I don't really have anything other than they're still here. They're still present. So that's it.
The cat and mouse of it all is ridiculous. That they have turned their military video games into real life.
Truly.
And that they're tormenting the people, and people are so tired and worn out that they barely have the energy to fight back. I don't know where this goes for us and the communities, but here we are.
I kind of keep asking, like, not you, like, we know ish what they capitulated, because we can just kind of, like, we can assume. But we don't know how. My question has been, and for most of this week has been, like, what inch did they take? Because they went the mile, right? And then behind closed doors, the federal government did an about face, which means that something was removed from our rights, from our freedoms, in order to please the federal government. But we just don't quite know what that is yet, because we weren't in the room, So there's that.
Which means that it's never been a better time to find community. I want to encourage everybody to either have digital community or IRL community that you can find peace in these times, because waiting on the federal government, waiting on the elitist capitalists in power to bring you a sense of peace and calm and belonging is not sustainable, because they want us all intentionally disheveled and disturbed, and they are not committed to your peace. And so we, for the last 5 years together, and I for the last 8 or 9 years, I think it's 9 years this year, I've been really dedicated to making sure that those of us who are black sheep, outliers, loners, and the stoners have spaces to be able to find resonance and camaraderie in doing the things that we do. These days, it's way less, would you please be part of our community? Would you please stand with us? These days, it's more about attraction and just chilling with people who want to grow in a peaceful environment. Later on today, Adopt a Black Artist, that program will have a workshop and a lab for us to brainstorm how we want to build this week in our dreams. If you've already interviewed into the program and been accepted, you're more than welcome to stop by and build in that way. I'm of the opinion that community and calm community is going to be one of the antidotes to the poison that's happening in the world around us. And I'm very committed to doing that. I can be a bit of a homebody, even though I need to be branching back out into the community in order to make my performance art based funds and community development. But I can be a person that really doesn't want to leave the house, especially on my days off. I count it as a privilege to be able to use this baby computer in my pocket to be able to bridge into Pennsylvania and Minnesota and LA and all around the world in order to be seen by people who want to increase this idea that we're all loved and lovable and worthy of having not just the collective's dream come true, but also our personal dreams come true. How do you think that the finding of community has changed over the last few years in your view and perspective, Priolo? And what do you think is missing and what we can hopefully bridge further into?
Yeah. I think the word that's coming up for me is balance. As you were talking, it's like, yes, we're building, those of us that can see it. And this is what one of my other coaches, Fiona, has talked about often, right? Is like, we're living in the 3D and some of us can see the 5D. Some of us can exist in the 5D. That is a world that is different than what we're living through right now. It is a completely different reality. And some of us are meant to be bridges between the now and the future. And I believe that that is what both Flow and I, light workers, music workers, artists, healers, like all of these types of people are the people that are bridging from the now to the new, right? Which exists right now because we believe in abundance here and we believe that abundance is having what you need at the time that you need it, right? So anyway, it is a balance. One of the things that I find that and have found in like the last 18 months as I've delved deeper and deeper into like, what am I building? Why do I need people around me? What do I want? Right. Is the way that we're set up in a binary of like our individual versus the collective, when really like it's all the same, So yes, we want to build those personal dreams and we want to achieve them because us being liberated in our dreams makes a light for other people to then light their own, right? It's not about lighting it for them. It's simply about us as people, which capitalism has told us the individual, right? Individualism is the thing that's going to win. But the reality is that we need people. We have to have community. We have to have a balance of all of this. And so that's the word that's coming up for me. And I think one of the things that has changed over the years, and especially, y'all, sorry, pregnancy burps are like coming in strong. Okay. Excuse me. I think the thing particularly about this crop of Adopt a Black artists, the work that Dr. Flo and I have been doing in Unfuckwithable Mastermind, you can join if you're interested. The work that we've been doing just out in the community for free 99, the work that we both do on our social medias, is this like, I don't know, just the value of being seen, right? The value of being held. And that was something on the show. Piper Pacole, stop it. That was something that on this last show, a lot of people had a consensus about, right? Like, yes, sometimes an all Black cast can feel very tokenized and feel very controlled and feel very performative inside of the opera world, but everyone felt like we were in community, like we were being seen, like we could just exist as Black people together performing this art. We Negroes here in Little Rock. And I think that is also reflected in the direction that Love and Action Network has been going. It's not about necessarily, Flo did say that Restream was having a moment today. But yeah, I was like, oh, he's gone, baby. But anyway, I do really think it's, the word for me is balance right now. That in terms of like what is our individual identity within community, and then what is the collective identity. And I think we're rapidly shifting what that collective identity is in Love and Action Network and the programs that we support. Feel for Flo thing on his head. Y'all, don't you think it's pretty? Give him compliments.
Thank you, Tara, for this wonderful birthday present. It is awesome.
I just really love the yellow. And Poppy's wearing yellow today, or he was wearing yellow. I can't tell if it's still the yellow. But I love the yellow. It's because it's joy. Joy's the revolution. Oh my God. Okay, I'll shut up. I'm sorry. Feel for Flo.
It's a vibrancy. Being a former full-time New Yorker that wore all black every day, being in color now feels amazing. I just wanted to stop for a moment in today's production and to thank all of you for your Cash Apps and your PayPals and your Venmos. Some of you are giving because you like me and you wanted me to have a happy birthday. Some of you are giving because Adopt a Black Artist programs are donation based and you're helping to supplement. Some of you are donating based on the creative services or the accountability services or the programs that we have here. I just want to thank everybody for the fuel for Flow. It is keeping me in the race. It is keeping our finances balanced enough to go out into the world and to do the work. And I simply wanted to say thank you for that. It has felt amazing to be supported in this season. And as Tara was talking earlier about how the collective and the individual is connected, the interdependence of it all has been wonderful. And I'm super grateful. So I wanted to talk about that today. If you're out there, you continue and you want to contribute more fuel into what we're building locally here in Savannah, Georgia, and also online, you can figure out those ways to do so over on our website, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. And also for those of you who've been part of the Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee programs and have been contributing for years monthly to the work that we're doing, I wanted to say thank you today. All right, Tara's back with Olympic updates.
I am. If you didn't know, the Olympics is happening. And also, side note back to ice, that Milan, where the Olympics is being held this year, is definitely rioting in the streets because they sent ice to Italy for no reason, where they have no jurisdiction. Anywho, crazy. Like they're, and like y'all want to give the Minnesotans a Nobel Peace Prize, and I'm like, Minnesota, we should have burned more buildings. And that's what Italy's doing. So thank you, Italy, for burning your buildings. Super appreciate it. So the Olympics has been going on since last Friday. We watched a beautiful opening ceremony, okay, with like the little teapots. And then some of those little teapots, there was a whole joke on Threads that some of the teapots in the opening ceremony went and were grass at the Super Bowl, which I thought was highly amusing. It was like, I'm sorry, I can't stay. I have a gig on Sunday. And I thought that was hysterical. But I didn't bring that. I brought a couple, like we've watched a lot. I watched snowboarding last night. I don't know if Dr. Flo watched yesterday's primetime or not. But we have been watching lots of figure skating, lots of skiing, lots of all the things. Poor Lindsey Vonn. I'm so sorry. That sucks. I was watching skiing last night, the giant slalom, and like half the people crashed. It was really scary. And the American like slammed into the net. It was a whole thing. Anyway, here's a couple more updates from the Olympics. I'm just spotlighting some things. The drone coverage. This is from Court Kramer. The drone coverage is the single best thing the Olympics have added to broadcast coverage in years. Just absolutely stunning to be able to finally be able to put into perspective the speed at which the athletes are going on ice and down mountains, how high they're jumping, and how and far they're flying. Kudos to the drone pilots and the Olympics for the incredible imagery we can finally see. And I just have to say that, like, I was reading another, I don't know where I read it, but like they were talking about the technology in the drones and how like the the thing that the drone pilot is seeing, like the lag time is like almost zero, so they can adjust super quickly to what's happening and like move it was so cool, y'all. And when you see the drone footage, hello, y'all got to watch some luge just for the drone coverage, okay? And then I put a little picture of the Canadian team for ice dancing, Paul and Piper, who just, Dr. Flo and I just ugly cried to the whole performance. They won the bronze 2 nights ago, and I think it was the most stunning performance that I have ever seen in figure skating. Like, ever seen. Like, I've seen really good figure skaters. Like, I remember the Russian guy, now I can't remember his name, but he was so good back in the day. I remember Michelle Kwan. I remember Tara Lipinski. Like, I remember Johnny Weir. I remember Scott Hamilton. Like, I remember these people, but I have never seen what they did. It was so beautiful. And also I do kind of think that the Americans were robbed, but that's okay. France got the gold, and they were also very good. So it was a great night of ice skating a couple nights ago, and we do get to, I believe, watch the men's long program
The
tonight.
Americans were not robbed.
I'm mad about it. I feel like their technical skill was better than the French.
The technical skill was
that one lift was cray.
Their technical skill was better, but it's not only technical, it's artistic.
It's true.
And artistically, they were bland. Like, the French did technical, and they gave us beautiful art.
Beautiful lines, folks.
Beautiful
like, if you want to see a
everything.
line, go watch the French long. It's called rhythm dance or something, rhythmic dance. Anyway, it was great. I don't think I have another slide. We're continuing to watch the Olympics. Once again, like, we are, here's the deal. Like, we have watch parties almost every single day, whether that is during co-working during the day or Olympic primetime coverage, which begins at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Like, this evening, we will be watching primetime coverage. And we are back over on our Discord server, so you are most welcome to join. Okay, now I will shut up and we can talk about friggin' Valentine's Day.
We gather every day online. If you'd like access to the real-time calendar, it's in the Discord server. We're either watching watch parties, gaming casually, or co-working to keep our ADHD at bay so that we can actually accomplish dreams and make money to survive. So if you're into group gatherings to watch things, casual gaming, or working on dreams in a fun environment, you're more than welcome to stop by. All right, you already offered an opinion about it, and I'd love to hear more about what you think about Valentine's Day.
I feel like I say this every year. If you don't love me every day of the year, you don't deserve to be my Valentine. If you ain't going to tell me every day, there ain't no point in telling me on Valentine's Day. That being said, my husband did text me earlier today, and he was like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I don't know." My mom suggested that we go to Mall of America or the Children's Museum. I want to go test drive a car tomorrow morning, so I got to set that up. But I'm thinking maybe lunch at Mall of America. Like, maybe that would be a fun time. But yeah, I don't love. It's funny because Christmas is like my favorite holiday, but like, I don't love the commodification of love and the capitalization of love. Like, I'm like, why are we doing this to each other? Can't we just like love each other? Every day. But I did ask Flo to be my Valentine in Snapchat, so we'll see what he says. He sent me one back.
I feel the same way about Valentine's Day that I feel about all the holidays that Hallmark pushes. It is a over commodification and a commodification. That's the word,
I think
right?
that's the word. I think that's the correct
Commodification.
I think it's commodification. I was looking for it the other day, and I said commoditizing, and I don't think that's the right terminology.
Yeah, you know, someone who doesn't have someone who is with someone who does not have the finances to pull it off are going to um make their partner who loves them ordinarily feel bad about not being able to perform the ritual. You must love me less, or you must not love me as much as you say you do if you didn't give me the candy. Um if I don't get the flowers, I got flowers sitting right here off to stage right of my studio from my birthday. Poppy Water and I are also in a very interesting situation in that my birthday, our anniversary, Valentine's Day, and his birthday are all within like a month of each other. But we also are very kind to each other year round. So I'm a Tara. There's a way in which every day can be Valentine's Day if we want it to be. That's also a choice. And Tara will be talking a lot about choices in her forthcoming New York Times bestselling book, Choices, from the brink of warfare in Minnesota.
I hope we're not going to be at war for much longer, child. But
Do,
we got
do
these.
ICE, do ICE, I didn't even like calling them officers because officers makes it seem like they're official. Do ICE
Agent.
militia participants, do agents of the axis of evil, do they deserve to have Valentines?
They deserve to have love. And the problem is, like, I mean, the reason that people do this stuff is because they haven't experienced love. They don't know how to love their inner child. They don't know how to love themselves. We have a self-love deficit, and that is like literally the largest problem. And that is like people are reacting to their fear and their anger as opposed to just loving themselves a little bit more. They believe that the control of other people is the answer to their happiness, but that's not it, right? That the only thing that is going to make you happy is to figure out how to love yourself. And I think, when people are doing the things that these ICE agents and militia paramilitary people are doing is like the further you get into it, the more guilty that you feel, right? Like they might be laughing about it now, but I'm sure in 10 years when they figure out that they actually killed a person, you know what I mean? That you wrestle with that. We've seen that with inmates. We've seen that with people that spend their lives in jail after murdering people, right? And in the later years of their lives, they start to wish that they could love themselves, right? Wish that they could love that person instead of demolishing and ending their light. So they deserve Valentine's Day simply because they are human. They deserve to eat simply because they are human. And just because someone is human does not mean they are above critique and reproach and to be hopefully put on the path to awareness, awakening, enlightenment, whatever you want.
Rehabilitation.
Right, right, right. Because they're broken because of the system, right? And I think if we stop hating each other and start hating the system, we might get a little bit further. But we're still in the other end, which is the reel that I want to make today that Poppy Water reminded me of earlier. Okay, we had both brought this and I deleted Piper Pacole and I deleted my slide. So you go first.
Tara's coming to you live over there from remaking of Trash in the Camp from Tarzan. That's clearly happening with her toddler in Minnesota, which is hilarious. I know that I'm a less neurotic person than I used to be because stuff like that used to drive me insane. And now I'm like, you know what? let the baby thrash. We all deserve our freedom, and I'm a champion of freedom, so let's go. I brought up this evildoer today via slide only because this blonde lady, attorney general, is playing in our faces, and I don't like it. I don't like it when anybody plays in my face. There's a saying from my family and from the South: "Don't pee in my face and tell me that it's raining." I do not enjoy that the victims are standing right there in front of her, wanting to be seen in their stories and wanting to be heard and wanting to decrease the suffering of others in our population at large. And she just blatantly lies and pretends like their suffering isn't real. And as a person who has experiences in my life from multiple people, folks gaslighting me, pretending that my suffering wasn't real, trying to make me hush up and go away or not express the harm to reduce the harm. This is really offensive to watch. And I think I just brought it today not to highlight her, but just to say that this type of carrying on in our families, in our local communities, nationally and globally, it's got to stop. And it's not going to end until we continually call out the bullshit. What were you going to say about this asshole? And she's very and not that women shouldn't be able to interject, or that women should not be able to speak up, or that women should not be able to say their piece. The way she weaponizes the I don't know. I don't want to come across the wrong way. Trust me, I've got lots of women in my community that talk back and have no problem with saying what they need to say as they are entitled to. But the way she demeans and cuts off and disrupts people, it's super jarring to me. Like she is emblematic of the fact that there are no rules anymore. If you're out there and you're playing by some kind of rule book handed to you by society about how things should go, and if you're living according to what's proper and just so in decorum, I mean, that's gone. That shit is out the window. But she's really something else.
Well, she's a person that believes that by staying aligned with rich and powerful white men and being a pimp, essentially, like you can compare her to Ms. Maxwell, because they're people that ignore other people's pain in order to get ahead, right? Because they believe that that is the way to get ahead. I do not believe that, right? I don't believe that stepping on other people's achievements is or pain is necessary. I believe that we can achieve it without hurting each other. What I said about Pam yesterday in my daily update post is that if Serena Waterford were a real person, it would be Pam Bondi. Like she is.
Who is Serena? What is that reference?
Handmaid's Tale. Mrs. Waterford. Right? It's the same energy. It's the same conniving, manipulative. Yes. Well, you threw it on the floor. Eat it. Don't throw it on the floor to the puppies. No, thank you. Yeah, it's an energy that is very and I was just talking to somebody last night about this. Like, it's interesting because what she's doing is like weaponizing her quote unquote oppression as a white woman. And she's utilizing like the white man energy, and in an attempt that people wouldn't criticize her for that, because she's simply like trying to disrupt the norm. And like, we do expect women, and especially white women, to be demure and to be quiet and to be um submissive, right? And she's not doing that. And so what she is doing is embodying this loud, angry ness, toxic masculinity part of white man, right? And when, if you criticize her for it, she'll say, well, then you're being sexist, right? So this is what it is. And we talked about this last week with the Epstein files, and that's what all of this is on, and why Pam Bondi is testifying, and why I know that, like, it's not real, because this is public, right? Like, this trial is not real, because they're putting this stuff out to distract us from something very dark and deeper than what's happening at the surface level that we can see. And I think it's a shame. I really do, that we can't just believe the thousands of victims that have come forward stating what Epstein and others did to them. I think that's a shame. I think it's a shame that we are fighting so hard to get these files released when people are already talking about it, but they have to legitimize themselves in the government, right? Or by the government, because we have these twisted rules, instead of just saying, like, it is possible that these people had all of these horrible things happen to them because there are horrible men that exist, right? And there are horrible women that exist, and there are horrible they thems that exist. There are just horrible people that exist, and they do things to each other that many of us wouldn't dream of, right? In an effort to hold control and to hold power. And that's all Pam Bondi is doing. This is a giant, it is a giant distraction. And I really like need y'all to get up to speed on that. You know? There were some funny memes about the stock market commentary that she had yesterday. But yeah, I'm in the camp of ignoring and not diving in deep to the details of what she's saying, because it's just meant to harm and it's meant to distract. And we have better things to focus on, like embodying our own dreams, walking with each other towards the new world, helping our communities outside of our door with mutual aid, building rapid response teams, these types of things, building local healthcare, so that we don't have to depend on the system, basically divesting from the system. And when we are talking about Pam Bondi, or we're talking about the Epstein files, we are in fact simply reinforcing the system. And the like, the getting distracted by the outlandishness of the system itself is not going to help us rid ourselves of the system, right? So that's that. That's how I feel about Pam. I think she's a trash human.
Yeah. Asshole's going to asshole.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important right now that we find joy in the storms. I'm not going to be here on this live very long. I'm just going to say that we are being imprisoned by the society. We are being imprisoned by the feds. We are being imprisoned by our own thoughts. And it's important that we figure out a way to carve out joyful living daily in the midst of what's pressing in on us. Our ancestors did it, and we have the capacity and power to do it as well. I don't have much to say about this beyond the fact that I am daily finding things to be happy about, and I'm recommitting myself to finding local community and people who want to engage in the merriment with me. You know, my band will be coming. My jam sessions will be coming. My creative expression workshops will be coming. There will be more. The moment that we clear things out of our new apartment, there will be dinner parties, and just happiness You know, if we're all going all over the cliff, you know, I told them the other day here on property, I want to be the people who are playing the violins as the Titanic sank. If you're a person who believes that the Titanic is sinking, if you're a person out there who believes that the world's going to shit, I'm not going to talk you out of that. I'm just going to laugh and have fun and make music and write music and be joyful right on through it. Y'all
On
know
the
my
way down.
father. Yeah,
Yeah.
my father's no longer here on the planet. He was born, lived, and died under the bullshit.
Right.
I don't have a happy ending to sell you. I'm not as Pollyanna as I was. If you look back into the YouTube archives and if you look back into the whole arc of Flow, you'll see a person that was bypassing what was very, very real and clear and present. I'm no longer interested in ignoring what the facts of the situation are. I also know that I can deal in that 5D space that Tara was talking about earlier. I never took that seriously. You said it a lot, and I know that Fiona talks about it a lot. Never, ever really delved into it. Looked it up today. 5D generally refers to a five-dimensional space, or in spiritual context, a higher state of consciousness focused on love, unity, and intuition rather than fear and separation. It represents a shift from 3D, physical, ego driven, and 4D, time, emotional awareness, these spaces, 3D and 4D, to a more enlightened, connected experience of reality. And there's a little Medium post that I'll share behind the scenes about that. But I never
Yeah,
contemplated what it meant to
I
be in
don't
a
know that
5D
I
space.
resonate as much with the terminology of like 3D and 5D, but it is an easy way to explain it. To me, I just relate it. I talked about it on this pod. So if you scroll back, when Harriet Tubman decided that slavery was not her reality, right? Like she point blank was like, this is not my reality. I'm changing it. Right. And she just escaped. And then she came back and she was like, yo, this is my reality. You want to come? Get in the boat. Literally. Wade in the water. Literally. Right. And so like that is what I resonate with is like, yes, this is all happening outside of our door, but joy is the revolution. Like joy is the thing that they do not want us to have. Why are they leaving Minnesota? Because we were too joyful in the goddamn streets. We were singing. There were 20,000 people singing in the streets. They didn't like that. They couldn't handle our joy. Right?
Like,
And
we
Stacey,
cannot scare them, we cannot terrorize them. This is no longer fun for us because
right.
like what they get off on is people going, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god."
Right. They get off on the stories of the people hiding in their homes. They get off on the stories like Anne Frank being trapped in the attic. They get off on the stories of slaves being caught, enslaved people being caught and brutalized, right? They get off on those stories. We get off on our joy. We get off on creation. We get off on these things, right? And one of the things, the last thing I'll share here, and I shared the link to Liberation Conversations, I think. I went back. I'm delving back into the podcast land of like, what can I actually listen to that makes me feel good? Which right now is not Jane and her boring ass on What a Day. So I tried out Stacey Abrams. I tried Assembly Required, okay, which I haven't listened to in months. But at the beginning of the podcast, she was talking about Bad Bunny's show, okay, Bad Bunny's halftime show. And what she said was, Bad Bunny reminded us that joy is always a choice that we can make. It is always accessible to us. And so we just have to choose. That's it. Speaking of my upcoming book, choices. you know? So yeah, that's what I would say. I believe more and more deeply. Oh my God, joy is the revolution.
Did you want to talk about what ceasefire means for you today, and then I can hop in on it?
Yeah, to me it means stop throwing daggers, like literally at each other. Like, and I'll just talk about it here because this is the end of the podcast, and some people listen, some people don't, but some of you don't follow me on social media. Um, I encountered someone, and you actually commented on this post too, Flo. I encountered someone in my comment section, and he has come into my comment section before. And he's very liberal, which is like fine. I'm like whatever. But he's the brand of liberal that is like MAGA deserves to die. MAGA deserves to, they're all stupid. They're all this. They're all that. They're all like very monolithically like painting them as the other, right? And what he was saying underneath was about how like the only cheating that's done is by MAGA, and that just simply is not true. That's not a true statement. Um, all people are capable of bad. All people are capable of good. And so that's the ceasefire. Ceasefire within yourself, ceasefire towards other people. You don't need to make an enemy to feel okay in yourself. You don't need to have a villain. Dr. Flo and I used to talk about this all the time. You don't need to have a villain in your life to feel good about yourself. And you don't need to make yourself into the villain for yourself to feel good. Right? And that's just the ceasefire that I think we can stop. Once again, we can stop just hating each other, like, and trying to control each other. That's the ceasefire, you know?
I'm with you. I spent decades being at war within myself, and that always turned into me being adversarial with other people and fighting against what is. And I no longer want to be in confrontation. If anything, I want to use what Iyanla talks about, carefrontation, bringing care to my life, to my direct connections and nuclear connections, and also letting that spill out into the world. And I can see and feel that shift happening in my heart and in my life. We think that ceasefire is demanding other governmental entities and other people in power to stop doing what they're doing. If we stop doing it to ourselves and stop doing it in our households and stop doing it amongst our business associates, our professional and personal connections, it would ripple.
Right. You don't need to, and just to remind us of a quote that we've loved for the last at least 18 months, right? A movement is people moving in the same direction and thinking differently. A cult is people moving in the same direction and thinking the same. I don't want to build a cult. I don't require that the people walking with me agree with me 100%. I don't require that the government stop doing what the government is doing, because the government, once again, is responding to a system that has been in place for at least 1,000 years, right?
And I've been reminding myself that if freedom is important to me, and freedom is something that I claim to be a champion of publicly for everyone, then I can't control what my husband does. I can't control what Tara does. I can't control what anybody does. If I truly want to be in my freedom and want to be a champion of freedom, then that means that everybody gets to get it. And it does not need to look like what I want it to look like. The only requirement globally is that there is no harm. We saw the people of Palestine being harmed. We see immigrants to this country and other human beings being harmed. That's not the type of freedom that we champion. I don't want freedom for ICE to torment people and make people afraid of their human existence.
Right.
But any other kind of freedom, especially the kind that's not bringing any pain to anyone or disruption, have it.
Right. Agreed.
There's so much that we could be doing instead of creating munitions and bombs and causing harm to people. We can really change the way in which we use our time. The way that we use our time here on Love and Action Network is through the Adopted Black Artist Program. There's more information on our website if you're interested in learning more about that. About 20 websites dedicated to giving you information about this program. Feel free to stop by and learn more about that and tap in if you'd like. We also offer daily peer support programs over in our WhatsApp communities, and also the Snapchat motivation circle from Adopted Black Artist Program seems to be a very vibrant space that's kicking these days. So stop by there if you're interested. Free sliding scale and available. We want to see everyone free there as well. And also, if you're interested in helping people if you're interested in being lifted in your dreams, we have programs through admin and support services to get you what you need. Back of house admin services to help you grow. I've done a couple flyers this week and positioned people in their project management. It is a thrill to serve and be served as well in these ways. Also, I've got a new newsletter, which name skips me right now. I'm going to quickly look up the name of my own newsletter because it's just that fresh. It's called Love City Arts Daily, Coaching and Creative Opportunities. I'm going to be as often as possible going out into the world and letting you know what my availability is for day of services. It's very warm. My partner gets very cold, and I burn up daily. So just pardon me. You may hear the fan blowing on the microphone now a little bit. Oh no? Okay, good. So feel free to tap into that newsletter for daily deals and also tips of how to elevate your gifts in the world. That's the new newsletter. I'm also bringing on people for Dr. Flow and the Love Experience. Be part of something bigger than yourself as we unite the talents of diverse artists all over the planet as we celebrate the power of love, music, and theater and arts. Would love to hear from people who are interested in being seen in their gifts and elevating a message of hope and love in the world. This is what I seek to have it look like in the end. And I spend most of my days working towards this goal. Cannot wait to connect with all of you. Tara, what you got going on over there?
I have completed my world premiere. So I have TPS Community Commons. There are 3 groups. Actually, there's 4 groups under there. And I do intend to start building that. I also have I Dream a World, which is my newest album, and that is out on Bandcamp right now. Also, my social media is very active. I'm doing daily update posts right now from the occupation space of Minnesota, as well as, Black History Month prompts. And there will shortly be some other things on there. So that is where to find me, Tara Priolo Studio on all platforms, tarapriolo.com/links. Okay, that's that.
We also cannot wait to have more hosts and more ideas on this particular pod. It's not meant to go ultra famous or anything like that. We don't do this to be famous or to be seen. For me, it's more of a legacy building project. I would love for my descendants and people who hear of me for many generations to come to just know that in these times I was supporting people and speaking up for what I believe to be just and fair in the world. And a lot of people don't like to go on record with how they're feeling in these present times. And this is a way where we just say, yo, in 2026, where were we standing? How did we feel? And maybe me in my rocking chair in my 90s will be able to look back and be proud of what I was doing today. What say you, closing thoughts, Tara?
Excited to see what's next. That's all I got. Just, yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody. On behalf of our leadership team here in the network, Poppy Water 33, Tara Priolo Studio, and myself, Ask Dr. Flo on all platforms, we thank you for watching and listening today over on YouTube, Twitch, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you source your joy. Stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable. We'll see you very, very soon around our fierce and fantabulous network.